In part 1, I talked about Atari's very famous tank game, Combat, but now it's time to look at some of the alternatives on other consoles. Well, first up is Armored Encounter on the Odyssey 2. Look familiar? Yeah, there's not a ton here visually to separate it from Combat. It also plays very similarly to Combat as well, even including guided missiles. The changes here are mostly minor, though there are enough of them to feel somewhat distinct, at least after a few rounds. It once again uses tank controls, though it does allow you to go backwards this time. I'm not sure if it's the controllers, the slower bullets, or if the movement speed is a bit slower, but it doesn't quite feel as responsive as Combat's tanks. One of the more major changes here is the ammo limit. No matter which of the various modes you select, your tank only starts with 20 rounds, and there's no way to increase that number or reload if you run out. There's a 3-minute timer in each game, but it'll automatically end the game if both tanks run out of ammo. It's an interesting idea since it forces both players to be a bit more conservative with the shots they take, but there is one problem. How do you know how many shots you have left? The programmer apparently thought about this and decided the easiest way would be to have your shots change color when you're running low. Makes sense, but oh, that was my last shot. Did you notice a color change? Here's a normal bullet, and here's the one after the color change. Yeah, you might as well just start counting off shots at this point, especially since there's already signal/color distortion going on just from the Odyssey 2 using radio frequency, a method known for not giving a clear signal as its video output. The other big difference is that the tanks don't go spinning away when they get hit. It wasn't a perfect solution in Combat, but it's a lot better than this. In Armored Encounter, if you roll up to an opponent, you can just keep blasting them repeatedly until they get turned around, at which point you just start trading shots back and forth. Maybe that's what the option to reverse your tank is for, but your tanks are so slow that you'll still get hit at least a couple of times before you're out of range. It also doesn't send you flying away, so I can just do this.
I was like, it doesn't really do. So yeah, if anything, like maybe because you can go backwards, they just figured and you both freeze whenever a shot happens, so it also makes it feel a little slow. And like I said, it really gets you in these like battles of attrition. And it's like where it's just like you just shoot each other slowly as you.
This game does bring back one of the elements of the arcade game that wasn't present in Combat. Landmines. See those white X's on the ground? Those are landmines, and touching one will make your tank explode and give a point to your opponent. Instead of having an entire field of them, there's only 4 of them located at the corner of the hills. These are hills, by the way. These black lines.
Those black lines are hills, okay.
They're generally pretty easy to avoid, but it can be somewhat helpful in keeping a fleeing adversary from cutting off corners when trying to escape. Not a bad rendition of the basic tank concept, but it also doesn't strive to do much more than that.
Because, while I like a lot of the stuff in, like, this one, the other one did have a lot of features that, without them, does kind of change how the game plays. Like you said, the fact that you don't get knocked away.
Yeah.
So there's no forced repositioning, means that you can just kind of lock people in. Like, the bullet speed may be a bit slower. So it makes it a lot harder to catch people. So and then it's like becomes there's no real good indicator of.
Oh, I thought I could round that corner in time.
Yeah, because there was, I guess I ran out, and I don't remember the bullets changing.
It's worth noting that Armored Encounter is actually one of 2 games included on this cartridge, which helps make up for not having any plane-based combat modes. Maybe I'll get around to talking about Subchase, ! The other game included, in another video. The final tank game I'm going to cover today is Armor Battle for the Intellivision. This was one of the 4 launch games available during the 1979 test market holiday season, and was the only action game of the bunch. The basic idea is still the same here. Control a tank and shoot your rival's tank. Or should I say tanks, plural. In Armor Battle, both players get 2 tanks that you can swap between by pressing the corresponding key on the keypad. This is a neat idea and can be utilized as either just a second life or by positioning your tank strategically to trap an enemy. The controls do take some getting used to though. I mean, would it really be an Intellivision game if it didn't feature an overly complex or just plain baffling control scheme? Here, it's mainly just the latter. Rather than using the now standard tank controls, your forward movement is tied completely to the bottom buttons, and steering is set to the D disc. You have to push and hold on the disc in the direction you want to face, and then wait as your tank slowly turns around. This took Zayden and I an embarrassingly long time to figure out initially. Wait. I may have figured it out.
Okay.
Okay, this is weird. It's not tank control. So you push and hold the direction you want to face, and it'll slowly start getting there.
Okay.
And then you're done. So then, if you want to aim downward, you push there and wait for it to happen. That is the most ridiculous control scheme I think I've ever seen. Even after learning how to control the tanks, there are still some variables that you'll need to work around. The biggest one is the terrain type on the map. There are 240 different maps in total, and one is selected at random for each round, but each map will generally have the same few terrain tiles just in different positions. Grass is the standard ground type. Roads will allow your tank to move significantly faster, almost too fast in my experience. Water will slow down your tank's movement, and trees will slow you down but also provide cover from enemies. Or at least that's what the manual says. There are also buildings on every map that are indestructible, so they can be used as cover. Another addition to the formula is tank recoil. Instead of predictably firing in a straight line multiple times in a row, your tank will recoil into a different angle after each shot. I'm guessing this was their solution to not allowing one player to corner another tank completely and take them out too quickly with repeated shots. The end result is somewhat mixed though. It would be one thing if aiming was reliable in this game, but it just isn't. You'd think looking at the barrel of your turret would help you line up where your shot is going to go, right? Well, that just doesn't seem to be the case here. Your tank can be positioned in one of 16 different angles, but it feels like there's actually 32, with second invisible angles accompanying each frame. I'm not sure if that's actually the case, but I otherwise can't explain how some of these clear-looking shots end up missing this badly. So yeah, when the recoil occurs, it can sometimes seem like it's bumping you into one of those invisible angles with no visual indication of that occurring. What's that? An Intellivision game having an interesting but overcomplicated idea with poor execution? You don't say. Oh, there we go.
And say, yeah, there it is. I feel like it's weird. The recoil from the shot is so fast. I feel like it's faster to do that than to actually turn. At a certain point, I just started shooting to turn. It's just faster. It's not like they couldn't even do it. It's just... It's very bizarre.
Oh, it's got rapid fire if you hold down.
If you hold down. Oh, yeah. And just kind of bounce all over the place, as, tanks are known for.
Yeah.
Just bouncing everywhere after they shoot.
Each tank takes 3 hits to destroy, and both players start the game with a reserve of 50 tanks each. The ultimate goal is to get your opponent's number down to 0. That means, at minimum, if you play every single round by destroying both of your foe's tanks, you're playing 25 rounds. And that's the best case scenario. Why they thought you'd want to play this game for that long is beyond me. It's also worth pointing out that there are no other game variations in Armor Battle, so I'm guessing that the sheer amount of maps was supposed to offset that fact. For my taste, though, I prefer the variety in modes rather than the maps, at least in this case. The last unique mechanic is your tank's ability to place landmines. The mines themselves are completely invisible to both players, so it's important to remember where you place them. What?
I laid down the mine. They couldn't move out of the way in time. Because it says that there's 5 seconds, and I was like, I just didn't move fast enough. You move very slow. So when you lay the mine, you got to make sure you're in a spot where you don't have to, turn or something like that. 8 is switch tanks. Lay mine should be 2.
Is there any visual indicator that just happened?
Not that I saw last time. I'm going to try it again to lay the mine.
I do it on the move.
And then move. Now the mine is activated, but I don't know if anybody knows where the mine's at.
Well, let me try and run it over and we'll see. Let's see if it actually worked. Wasn't it right around here?
Yeah.
Oh, there it was.
Oh, yeah, no, okay. It is. It does.
So you just have to remember where it is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no indicator. You just gotta know where it's at.
It's a neat idea that can lead to some interesting strategies. I just wish it were in one of the tank games I enjoyed playing more. Armor Battle isn't bad, but the awkward and sluggish controls played on a frankly awful controller, paired with the unreliable aiming and random recoil, makes the whole experience feel largely unfun. It also overstays its welcome with a ridiculously overextended win condition. It's a game I want to like more, but I just don't, and I don't think that's on me.
Yeah, oddly enough, it's still like not the most playable of the tank games that we've played, despite being newer. And part of it really is the controller. The controller is just unintuitive.
Yeah.
Somehow having tank controls is better than whatever this was.
Unlike some of the other early game concepts that faded away as newer and more popular genres entered the scene, tank combat games have still remained a thing all the way to the modern day. Sure, they're nowhere near as common as they once were, but their simplicity has led them to become a common choice for student project titles or early projects from budding indie devs learning to create games for a new generation. Tank games were certainly a staple of the industry's early era, though in playing/replaying them for this video, I will say I don't quite enjoy playing them as much today as some of the other PvP game styles from around the same era, like the shootout games. Fun enough to jump into for a couple rounds, but then you'll be ready to move on to something a little more complex.